You're probably here because you're finding it a little bit difficult in finding your way about leadership, finding your way on how to manage people well, and finding your way on how to grow your business as an entrepreneur. Any one of these things are the topics that we cover. I'm your host, Sean C., aka Mr. CEO at 22. I am so glad that you took the first step of being here to learn more about leadership, entrepreneurship, and management because the world needs more people like you. We will help you to invest in yourself because that's something that is worth doing. That is something that is worth learning. If you have questions about entrepreneurship, maybe you're having problems at work or you're having some leadership problems or managing other people, boy, I have news for you. We have what we call a masterclass. Most of the courses in the masterclass deal with how you can generate revenue online. It deals with leadership, how to lead in crisis, how to break through the crisis in business, in entrepreneurship, and how you can manage other people better. Now, I always say the best kind of investment is an investment in yourself. And how much money are we charging for this masterclass? Not a lot. And if you invest in one, it's yours to keep. And if it doesn't, I'll refund you. No questions asked, full refund. So why don't you try it out? Head on over to sean.c/masterclass and check out any one of the courses if it fits any one of the questions in your head. And if you have any questions, you can just put it on the comment section and we'll get in touch with you. We want to know who you are and we want to hear from you. Until then, keep leading. All right. Good evening, everyone. Medyo mukhang madilim pala yung ano ko, no? Yeah, I forgot to turn on the light. Oh no. But yeah. Thank you once again for tuning in. Leadership Stack Live. To those of you watching from Facebook, watching from YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope, hello. We have a special guest tonight, Miss Antoinette Aquino, aka Tony, and we are going to be tackling questions about business, entrepreneurship, leadership, management, personal finance, and investments, and maybe how to even be a TikToker. So, Tony, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here tonight. I think you need to unmute. Let me see. Can we do that? There you go. Hey, Tony. Can you hear me? You there?
Hi, thank you, Sean, for inviting me. It's such an honor to be part of your show because Sean already knows this, but I've always been such a huge fan of him. And for those who didn't know, hello.
There. I think your internet
Hello?
might be,
Hello.
acting up a bit.
Ayan, okay. So as I was saying, it is such an honor. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep. Now I can hear you now perfectly.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Tony, I think your internet
Hello?
might be lagging a little bit behind. It might be a little bit lagging.
Are we having? Hello, can you hear me better now?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Hello? Hello?
We need an internet sponsor here.
Hello? Okay,
Okay.
hold on.
No problem. We can hear you perfectly fine now. It's just that I think you're hearing me late.
Hello?
What I'm saying.
Hello, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
You're perfect.
All right, so
Yeah.
as I was saying, it really is such an honor to be part of your show because I've always been such a huge fan of Sean, and I've been a viewer, so it really is such a new thing for me to be a part of your show now as your guest. And for those who didn't know, okay, okay, hold on, hold on.
Okay, yeah.
Hello,
Um, yeah, Tony, that's a really good
hello,
idea. Maybe we could restart, and yeah, no problem. Just take your
hello.
time. Restart
There.
it
Is
first.
it better now, or am I still lagging?
Still lagging. It's still lagging. So I think you're getting me a little bit late. Try can you try restarting, and then I'll answer some business questions first as you do that. No problem. All right. There she goes. So, all right. I'll start with some business questions. By the way, Chan Manlapas, thanks for tuning in. We are honored that you are here. We have a question from Mitch. Mitch, thank you once again for tuning in tonight. How can someone protect their business or content idea from being stolen during pitching? When is it okay to steal and when is it crossing the line? If you have, I would say this rarely happens. I would say rarely happens. So ideas are cheap. That's what I always say. Ideas are cheap. A lot of people have a lot of ideas. That's the truth. A lot of people have very nice ideas, maybe even brilliant ideas. But if nothing is done about it, it's just an idea, you know? The problem is there are some people who have an idea and they keep talking about it and they don't do anything about it. And then someone thinks that their idea is also brilliant and actually does something about it. That's when we say, oh, that person stole that other person's idea. But in reality, we have a lot of talkers, not a lot of doers. And these talkers talk a lot about their ideas. It's the doers who get to do the idea. So the usual case of this is there's someone who keeps talking about his or her idea and they just keep talking and talking and talking and sharing it with everyone. Unfortunately, within that crowd, there's someone who's really looking for an opportunity to do or start a business that is perhaps a new idea. We that's the we have some companies in our world today that actually was kind of like that. They kind of stole the idea. We have Uber, we have Lyft, Grab. They have the same business model, but the first ever one that did that business was actually Lyft. But we don't know them now because the others stole the idea and flew with it. Hey Tony, welcome back. Are we on the same bandwidth now? Okay. We'll wait for Tony. Yeah, so that is what I think about this question, no? So how do you prevent it from happening to you? Don't talk about your idea to people you don't know, people you don't trust. Have self-control. I know that as a founder and as a visionary, you might want to keep casting the vision. You might want to keep talking about it. Some founders, some visionaries, that's how they make it grow within their mind and heart Na finally, dahil sa paulit-ulit nila sa sarili nila at sa ibang tao, they finally get the oomph, the drive to do it themselves and to finally start it. That's how they build it to themselves. But when you are that kind of person and you keep doing that or you start doing that, make sure you're doing it with the right people. Hey Tony, welcome back.
All right. I was lost there. Okay, so I hope the connection's better now. But yeah, sorry
Yep.
if you were saying something. Go ahead and continue.
No prob, no prob. Earlier, we were like past and present time frame eh. Medyo pagkasabi ko, tsaka mo na ako after few seconds. No? But
Oh,
yeah. So again, I'm honored that you're here. Super happy, super thrilled. And I hope that the internet will cooperate with us from here on. And yeah, welcome to the show.
Again, yeah, thank you again for the fourth time, and to everyone here who took time off their schedule to tune in. Welcome. I think some of you guys are also from TikTok or from my social media pages. So hello, hi.
All right, there we go. We have some TikTokers here pala, and some people from Tony's Instagram page. So yeah, Tony, before I move on, can you tell our audience a little bit more about you so that they know who I have here with me as a guest tonight?
Okay, so hi, I'm Antoinette, but most people call me Tony, and I am a licensed financial advisor and founder of Money Health Check. So, Money Health Check is essentially a social brand that aims to promote financial literacy specifically to the young Filipino community. And on top of that, I'm also a content creator. So, I think some of you guys already know that I put most of my content on TikTok. So, that really is my main platform for promoting my advocacy. And on top of that, I also lead a team of around 18 people. And for those who also don't know, I'm also a student from DLSU. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to know about me.
All right. Couldn't argue with the looks. You look very young. You look like a student, but I couldn't believe that as a student you were able to already make your millions. No, I read your story, and that is very, very impressive right there. Um, and I'm sure a lot of people will want to know how you did it. What's the story behind it? Maybe we can get to that later when we have time. Right now, we have a lot of questions. It's actually filling up the comments board. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one for
All
you.
right.
Patrick
Okay.
says, what are the financial mistakes most Filipinos make and how can they avoid it?
Okay, so I think the first one that comes on top of my head is lifestyle inflation or keeping up with other people's lifestyle. So more often than not, especially with the generation or the situation that we're in, we have this flex culture that's actually killing our savings or our ability to invest for our future. And more often than not, it's really mostly because people are buying things to impress other people. So I still remember when AirPods was a thing in our batch, and then when you had AirPods, parang you're considered wealthy or rich. That would be so people would sometimes equate their net worth to their own self worth. But at the end of the day, right, sometimes you're buying something not because you actually want it, but because someone else had it. And then another mistake that I can think of is maybe paying yourself last also. So sometimes how people do it is whenever they receive their income, they immediately spend or pay for their bills. But there's this formula that you can actually follow wherein you'd actually be able to save or set aside money. So it has been proven already that our human behavior is driven not by the rational part of our brain, but our emotions. So that's why it's very difficult for majority of us or for beginners to start saving. And that's why they say a best way to go about it is to just automate your savings first. Basically, pay yourself first or treat savings like paying a bill because you're paying for your future, right? You're working so hard to earn money. And the last thing that you want is, of course, for your hard earned money to go to something that will not even make you happy in 10 or 15 years' time. So before you start paying your bills, it's very important that you save first. And then another mistake is since now a lot of people are starting to get into investing and a lot of people are taking interest in the stock market. So a mistake is probably waiting too long before you start investing, right? But the thing is, the longer you put off investing, then the harder it is for you to get into the same level of financial freedom as someone who starts investing earlier. So it's very important that while it's good to plan, while it's good to study, attend webinars, or listen to talks like this, then you have to eventually take action. So those are the mistakes that the top mistakes that are common even among the zillennials nowadays. So is there anything that you can add to that, Sean?
That's the perfect answer. Like That's it. I guess
Okay.
the last time that this was asked was when I had Fitz on the show, and
Mhm.
all I said was, financial mistakes. Usually, when people buy stuff they don't need with money they don't
Mhm.
have, that's it. So, yeah, that for me is the usual financial mistake. And one question from Tyrene that's interesting, and I want to hear your take on this, Tony. What is your best advice for aspiring young entrepreneurs?
I think this is the perfect question for someone like me who is considered young. And, I would say a lot of fresh grads or even those who are about to enter college feel as if they need to find their calling or to find their purpose or to find that fixed career path that they can get onto. But I would say don't use your 20s to find your calling or your passion. If anything, use your 20s as a time for you to figure out what you don't want to do. And that's being able to take on any opportunity that presents itself. It's being able to try everything and to risk more. Because as they say, people who are in their 20s have an unfair advantage because you have the time to be able to take more risks or to go through failures, right? Like even if you fail 3 4 5 times, you'll still be able to pick yourself back up because you can afford to take more risks compared to people who are in their 40s or maybe in their 50s, right? Some of them have more financial obligations, so they can't afford to take more risks than what you can do now. So that's what I would say as a young entrepreneur myself.
Very good answer. Um, for me, I think it would be do what makes you come alive. Do what makes you come alive. Whatever it is that you think you could be the best at, that you're doing without people paying you to do it, keep doing that. Keep getting better at it. The key is consistency and discipline. I know it's not the sexiest word you can hear, especially from someone like me, but that's really what makes entrepreneurs successful. It's not about luck, it's not about the economy, it's not about who has the biggest capital. It's about consistency and discipline. A lot of you listening here know my story how I became CEO at 22. It's a series of divine interventions. And even if I say it's divine interventions, I had to move. I had to make myself better. Champions are not made in the ring when the contest is on. Champions are made in the gym when they're training, when they're studying their opponents and watching the highlight reels of previous boxing matches. And it's like with us, game day is when practice shows up. You have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined with practice. Sometimes you see entrepreneurs, we think, oh, they're a one hit wonder, they're an overnight sensation. It's never like that. It's never like that. We only see it when the media and the spotlights are already on their faces, but we don't see the blood, sweat, and tears they had to shed during the difficult times when they were still doing it in the gym, when they were still working out, when they were still practicing, studying the market, studying their opponent. So yeah, that's gonna be my advice.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It reminds me of that saying where it's best to focus on things that you can control. So you can't control the market economy, you can't control your competition or the amount of content creators that come on the platform, but you can always do more activity. Put out more content or get up earlier, train harder, work more hours. So yeah, that is a good advice.
From Pam, how much should I save up for an emergency fund? And I'm gonna add a little bit to her question. No, is there
Okay.
such a thing as too much emergency fund, Tony?
I would say it's very situational. So let's say for someone who is a fresh grad, someone who just started working, and let's assume that you have no one dependent on your income. Then what's recommended is usually 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. So what you do is you have to calculate your monthly expenses and then just multiply that by 3 or 6. But now during this pandemic, I think we've learned that we should have at least 1 year saved up. I mean, how long has this pandemic been going? Since early 2020, diba? So I would say 1 year is okay. I know people who have at least 2 years, but they're usually business owners or people who have a lot of people dependent on their income. But yes, putting a bulk of your money or too much money in the emergency fund can be a little bit dangerous because at the end of the day, you're putting it in either a traditional bank account that only gives you less than 1% interest rate. So you are technically losing money to inflation if you put majority of your money there. So I would say 6 months to 12 months would be a good start.
All right. Yeah. 12 months, no? No pandemic. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I would say. How much should I? Well, for me, my answer would be, um, well, how much time do you want to give yourself to think about what you're gonna be doing next if you lose your job or business? That's gonna be my answer. So if you say, I want 8 months to think about what my next business is gonna be, or I want 8 months to think about what my next job is going to be. Then save up for those months because that's going to be your time to think, maybe rest, maybe go on vacations, maybe travel the world if it's no longer a pandemic, right? But I think depending on your hiatus months, that's how much you should save up for an emergency fund. That's going to be my answer. From Erica, what should I invest my money in? Insurance, stocks, etc.
You know, that's probably my most asked question, even on TikTok. And the reason why I cannot always give a direct answer is because I don't know what your goals are. So, the word best investment or perfect investment is relative. So it really depends on what your goals are. And okay, so the first thing that you need to do is to set clear goals with achievable targets. So that's very essential when it comes to financial planning. So a lot of when I ask people, okay, what is your goal? Sometimes they'd say, okay, I just want passive income. But you need to be more specific. How much do you want to earn on an annual basis, or at what age do you want to retire? And from there on, you'll be able to identify what investment strategy is suited to get you or to help you reach that goal of yours. And then the first thing that you can also consider is your time frame. So there are many different investments that are suitable for short-term investors, for mid-term investors, and for long-term investors. So if let's say if you're going short-term, then the options are money market funds, there are bonds, government bonds. And then if you're looking for midterm, then there are balanced funds. And then if let's say you want to go long term, then there are stocks or even crypto, right? And then of course, another thing that you have to consider is your own risk appetite or your risk profile. So you need to identify if you are a conservative investor, meaning you're more suitable for low risk, low return type of investments, or are you moderate, or are you aggressive? So from then on, if you're able to assess your own profile, then you'd be able to identify which investment vehicle would suit you best. And you can seek out for credible experts who can help you out with the financial process of that, or simply do your research. That's what I would tell Erica.
Perfect answer. I mean, I couldn't add so much more to that. Maybe I'll take on the personal growth route in answering this. I'd say you should also invest your money in yourself, growing yourself, paying for more education. I always say during my talks when people hire me to speak about how I became CEO at 22, I say, do not let your schooling interfere with your education. A lot of people, when they graduate, they think that's it. This is as much as I could grow, and school has helped me, and I have the diploma to prove it, and that's it. Finally, I get to work and make money. That's a problem right there. Education, learning, it never stops. And if you stop with school, then you are actually leaving a lot of money on the table because there's so much to learn. There's so much to invest in when it comes to knowing more about it. I have had
a lot of investment paying for things that I learned: public speaking, leadership, some certifications, profiling people, being able to read them better, being able to lead and coach them better as well. And it has paid off in dividends for me. So it's not, at the end of the day, it's not all about money. It's not all about passive income. It's not all about retirement. It's also about how much growth did you have as a person? How many moments did you have in life? Because life is made out of moments, not really of a balance sheet. So yeah, I hope that helps. From Sorano Hoshi, for absolute beginners po, where should we start? I guess this might be from the perspective of personal finance. Yeah, let's answer it from that.
Or is it okay? So more on money management. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So I need to know more about the profile of this person. But if you're saying, okay, so if we're talking in steps, I would say the first thing that you need to do, which you mentioned earlier, is to find ways to, invest in yourself so that you could earn more later on. So once you're able to create that stable source of income for you, then of course you need to learn how to handle your finances. So the first thing that you can do is to record your expenses or to create a budget for yourself. So I know a lot of people tend to shy away from this, or minsan yung iba pinagsabihin nila kuripot daw if nagbo-budget ka. But, a way to view yourself is to, again, run yourself like a business. So I tell this to people all the time, right? Imagine a business trying to profit, but they don't keep track of their expenses. So it's the same thing for yourself. You can run yourself like a business so that you can determine your own profitability. And the only way for you to know that is, of course, if you write it down. So it doesn't matter where it is. You can write it down on a piece of paper, on an Excel spreadsheet, or using an app. You just need to know your numbers. Because mahirap na you run the numbers in your head. It's very difficult to do that. Because sometimes people go, oh, I can afford that, or I don't think I can afford that. But how do you know you can afford it if you don't even know your own financial numbers? So I would say that's the first step that you need to take.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a perfect answer. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks, Tony. From Patrick, can you give us the top 5 practical tips about money?
So do you want to start, or?
Top 5, I would say, is probably going to be the 5 steps, right? Number 1, establish a positive cash flow. Number 2, get out of debt. I'm cheating because I know that might be your answer as well, Tony. So, na kita.
Okay,
No, I'm
sige.
sure you've said it so many times already. And,
No, kasi ikaw yung sobrang yaban na talaga eh. So, of course.
huwag mo na dagdagan.
And-
Fake news yan. Huwag mo na dagdagan. So yeah, establish a positive cash flow, get out of debt, establish your emergency fund, or if you're running a business, we call that a safety net. Get insured because you have to protect and secure your money-making assets. If that's yourself, then it's yourself. If that's your business, then it's your business. And lastly, invest to grow your money. Yeah.
That's the perfect answer you've said.
Perfect
But if
answer.
we're talking more practical tips, like is it more of how do you save while spending, or sige, maybe I could talk about how, sige, let's make it more actionable. So one thing that you can do is to time your purchase. So we know that the common financial mistake is when people buy things right away. So syempre, nabudol tayo ng Lazada or Shopee. So what you can do is to, I would say, follow the 3-month rule, or at least a 3-week rule. So what happens is, basically, okay, so let me back it up by research. So they say that whenever you go shopping or whenever you splurge your money, research has shown that the dopamine doesn't actually hit from the purchase itself, or it doesn't come from the purchase itself. It comes from the anticipation of the purchase. So when you delay your gratification, or when you put off your purchase to a different time, then you can come think to yourself na, okay, maybe I don't really need this item, or I don't really need to buy this online. So that's one tip that I could give. And then maybe another one would be to negotiate price when possible. So when you're buying, every chance you get, you need to ask, okay, can you do a better price for me, right? Because what's the worst thing that can happen if you ask for a discount, right? They might say no, but that's just as bad as it gets, right? And if they say, okay, we'll bring it down, then at least it's a gain for you. So you can do this when you're purchasing car insurance or when you're buying things online. Pwede din yun.
Very, very good tips right there. So yeah, if it's good to know that the dopamine hit is from the anticipation of the purchase. So if you want to get a perpetual steady hit of dopamine, never buy that item. Always anticipate it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Shout out to Family Espada. There you go, Christopher Sword, Christopher Espada. We have a question from Mitch. What type of coach should people in transition seek? Career shifters, aspiring freelancers, or entrepreneurs? How does one decide if they need a coach or a mentor expert in the field they want to pursue? This would have been the perfect question for last week. My wife Apple was here. She's a coach. Um, for me, I'm more of a mentor than a coach, although I'm a certified John Maxwell coach as well and speaker. But my style is more of mentorship because I do
Mhm.
share my experience. Um, of course, if you want a field in ballet, you should never get me as your mentor because I have no experience about ballet. But if you want to do it, if you want to go start a business, I could help you there. So I think you have to seek people who have gone the way, made mistakes, and stood up and became successful. I think those are one of the best mentors to get. Coach, I would say, yeah, my wife would better be able to answer that. But a lot of mentors have helped me definitely. I do have a coach right now. I am being coached for helping to balance my life. That is one goal I want to have this year because I'm just choked with a lot of work. So I did hire a coach. Um, and yeah, so far so good. So far so good. What's your take on this, Tony?
Well, I would say, okay, to help you out, Mitch, maybe the first thing that you need to identify is what is it that you want mentorship around. So you need to identify what your mentorship objective is. Because if there's one thing that I learned by meeting different mentors or coaches, that there's no such thing as one mentor for everything, right? So you look for people whom you want to model. So even in my case, I have a mentor in the insurance industry. I also have another mentor for social media branding, for social media growth. And then I have Sean C. here, whom I consider as my mentor when it comes to leadership, right? Leadership. And I even have another one just simply for, like what you said, that more of like a life coach, diba? Because, and that's why I'm very grateful that I have a trusted female mentor that I can turn to for advice and inspiration, even as someone who is still quite new in the finance industry. So her name's Joanne. I'm not sure if she's tuned in, but she taught me how to become a top performer. She taught me how to build relationships with clients. So in a sense, when you do have a mentor slash coach, you can model them so that you can accelerate your own success. So it really helps when you have guidance who can help you, especially when you're starting out new in the industry that you want to be in.
Yeah, very good answer. So, with mentors, if you do get a mentor, there are things that are important for a mentor. Number one thing that's important is you remember what the mentor gave you, the advice. Number two, you actually do some of it, whether you do it exactly as the mentor said it or maybe how you think is best, doesn't matter as long as you do something about it. And you have to be the one to schedule routinely with your mentor. So I do have a mentor right now. I am learning a lot actually. Super dami ko natututunan, and I schedule with him about that, and I write my questions before I meet him. That's so important because there are some people who come to me for mentorship, sit down, and then like nothing. We just talk. But a mentor-mentee relationship is all about asking questions. So before I ask this person for 1 hour of his time, um, I make sure that I have a lot of questions already, questions that I really want to know the answer to and how he's doing it. And then when I sit down that 1 hour, I ask it. And after the 1 hour is done, I make sure to cut it there. I don't take up more of his time. That's how I do it. And that's also how I run my mentorship meetings. So people I mentor from my team, I tell them I only require three things every mentorship session. Number one would be, um, what did we talk about last week? Number two, what did you do about it? And lastly, ask me your questions for this round. So three things. That's it. Keep it simple. Yeah, people who want me to mentor them, that's also what we do usually. Okay. Here's a question from Erica. Should I be investing and taking risks in the pandemic? Very interesting question. What's your take? I'll let you go first, Tony.
Okay. So again, as I said earlier, it's situational. So before you start investing, regardless of what the market condition is, you need to establish your foundation first. So Sean said it earlier, his 5 tips to basically building your wealth, right? You have to ask yourself 3 questions. Okay. So the first one is, do you have income? What does your cash flow look like? Right? And then number 2 is, do you have an emergency fund? And if you look at the people who are doing, I would say, okay during this time, are those who actually had that safety net, right? Who were able to build their emergency fund to help them get by during this pandemic. And then the last question would be, are you knowledgeable about the stock market or the investment that you're planning to get into, right? Do you understand its risks, right? So, but no matter if your question to if your answer to those questions is a yes, then I would say go ahead and take the opportunity to invest during this time, because we're seeing companies that are fundamentally doing well but are low in price. So in a sense, if you're quite knowledgeable about the stock market already, then you would already know that now is your chance to get in and to invest. You have to take advantage of the sale, of course, while doing your research. But for those who are still hesitating during this time, I can only say that no matter how much time you spend considering your strategies, watching the stock markets, or planning which funds to put your money in, until you place those investments, they can't start working for you. So time really is your best friend when it comes to investing, because it's time that's going to help your money grow. So that's my take on it. What's yours, Sean?
I think that's perfect already. And I'm just gonna
Wow.
share. I'm just gonna share that I know people really killing it during the pandemic in their investing. There's one person I know who's a really good friend of mine. 3,000%. One trade. 3,000. I couldn't believe it. Crypto trade. 3,000%. I'm not gonna say the first letter of his name. Itago na lang natin siya sa pangalang Arvin Ermo. So, pero, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. That guy is really, his risk is grabe. Tsaka yung galing niya, ibang klase. So, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I personally, I am also taking risk, but very few. I would say a lot fewer than I would like, because 50 people are relying on me and my decision making. I don't want to risk their lives, so I cannot risk like that. From Jazz, Facebook analytics is ending soon. How do you think it will affect small online business owners? Yeah, it is, but we still have a business manager. So if you're a small business, sign up for Facebook Business Manager or Business Suite, and you're still going to have that same data, exactly the same data and more. And if you run ads from Business Manager or Business Suite, it's actually more effective than running it on just your Facebook page. So I do suggest that you sign up for a Facebook Business Manager if you haven't yet. It's free. It just takes a little bit more learning. That's it. But overall, you're going to save a lot of money and get a lot more views and reach with your ads. So hope that helps, Jazz. Erica, how can I save up enough money to start a business? How did you do it, Tony?
How did I save up money? Well, okay. So I guess for me, once you're set on your goals, as I mentioned earlier, I guess, and you've already established your foundation, then I would say it's to really organize your budget or really set aside or have a different fund simply for that goal you have, which is to save up for your capital. And again, if you're working right now and let's say your income equates to your monthly expenses, I would say find ways to cut back. And if that doesn't work, then you really have no choice but to increase your income or find other sources to, so that you can be able to save more. Because at the end of the day, there is a limit to how much you can cut back, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. So that's what I would say or advise someone who wants to save up money for a business.
Great. Makes a lot of sense. That's actually the perfect answer for it. Either you cut your expenses or increase your revenue. Um, I didn't have a lot of money when I was starting. I had 1,300 pesos. That's my capital. But
I love
since
the
I
story.
started, but since I started, you probably heard it a million times by now.
I
But
know.
yeah,
I never get tired of it. I always get inspired by that. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Go.
yeah. So you don't need a lot of money. That's the truth. If you think you need millions to start your own business, hundreds of thousands, that's actually not true. 1,300 pesos, believe it or not, I cannot make it up. That's how much money I had when I started out SEO hacker. It was a lot of people would say I was in the right place at the right time. I'd say it's a series of divine appointments. And there was a need, and the need was people wanted to rank their business online for certain keywords. And SEO does that. I had my blog, I learned what SEO was, and I was able to supply that need. They were able to they were willing to get someone like a nobody like me, 28 failing units, guys, from LaSalle. That's like a death sentence if you didn't know. Right? 28 units slapped on your transcript of records, you're probably not going to get a great job, right? So yeah, that's I ran with that. I ran with the 1,300. 800 pesos I used for the hosting per year. That's how much it costs. And 500 pesos I use for the domain name seo-hacker.com. 1 year. That's how much it costs. And I started writing. People started inquiring. I started getting deals. My first deal, 50,000 pesos a month, 6 months lock-in contract. And I used that money to grow the business, hire more people, get my first office, pay for the utilities, kuryente, tubig, internet, that's it. So it would depend a lot on what kind of business you want to start. But if it's a service-based business, you don't need a lot of money. You just need a lot of grit, a lot of guts, and you need to work really hard, and you need to pray hard as well.
And I've said it any better. I was so inspired by that story because I first heard it, I think, in one of Marvin Guermo's videos. And, I was inspired by that story to the point where every time I would do a speaking engagement and someone would ask me a similar question, I would always bring up your stories. I'd be like, there's this, Sean C. is the CEO of SEO Hacker, and he started with this capital. So, yeah, I just want to point that out.
Well, I'm very honored. Thank you for that. I'm happy that the story helps you out and adds value to you as well. And I'm sure you will find a lot of success tuning in to Marvin's YouTube videos and podcasts. And now you've discovered me from Marvin Guermo.
No, but in the
Na-mention natin siya na,
Kaya nga,
na-mention,
but I would say when it comes to podcasts, I really listen to yours. I would say at least once a day, so I can get pick your brain, especially when it comes to leadership, to business, to self growth. Parang you guys, if you haven't followed him on Spotify, please do. You'll do yourself a favor. I think the monthly subscription on Spotify is basta. It's you guys have to listen to his podcast also, and he goes live
Thank
every
you.
Thursday. Kaya,
Thank you. And I'm honored to have you here. Sana maulit.
sana talaga. I never would have met Sean if it wasn't, I guess, for TikTok. Or maybe because I actually reached out to him. Kinapalit ko na ng mukha ko. I reached out to him on LinkedIn. I was like, Sean, I'm such a huge fan of you. Like, I'm a content creator. And Like I was able to get here because I was listening to your podcast. So I guess that's something that you can also do, guys. If you know a content creator or someone whom you believe inspired you to, better your finances or better your own habits, then take the time to thank them, to appreciate what they're doing, because I think Sean would also agree that being a content creator is so hard, right? Like you're at the first you're not even earning. Diba?
It deals with a lot of non-sexy stuff like consistency and discipline, which we
That's
which we
true.
talked
That's
about.
true.
Yeah,
That's
but
true. And when
exactly. I agree with what you said exactly. And that to answer the question earlier, it's free, reaching out to people is free. You just have to have guts and great things happen. That's how we got together here tonight, and that's how, a lot of people are who are tuned in are learning. Diba?
I
Yeah.
know. And, I would say being a content creator is also kind of difficult because people like consume your content, they got value from it, and then next video. Parang ganun na lang. So it really helps us, or it pushes us to be consistent also when we receive feedback from you. Because we know that what we're doing is actually helping you guys out, or giving a lot of value to you. So yeah.
Amen. Yeah, agree 100%. From Pam, should I invest my money in stock market?
Maybe you can answer this first.
For me, invest first in Marvin Germo's Stock Smarts.
I agree.
Honestly,
I think that
he's
that
not
should
paying
just be
me
the
to say
answer.
this. He's not paying us to say this. Both of us. He's not paying us to say this.
I,
But oh man, when I went through that workshop, it blew my mind. Like all of the things that I didn't understand about the stock market, and I did lose money in it trying it out because I'm that kind of guy where I would just fire and then aim afterwards. So I fired and lost bullets, lost money in the stock market before I finally said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go and attend Marvin Germo's Stock Smarts, and I really enjoyed it. He's a really good teacher. So I would invest there first before investing money in the stock market.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. And I never failed to promote even his books or his YouTube channel, even on my own TikTok, because I would say that a lot of the things that I know now about investing, especially the stock market, I learned it from his YouTube channel, and it's free. It's at your disposal. So if you really want to grow, or you want to, be familiar about this type of investment vehicle, go ahead and consume his content, and you're doing yourself a favor by doing that. Again,
Yeah.
we're not like paid by him also to say this.
If you want to learn how to grow your money 3,000% in one trade,
Follow Marvin Garrett. He's also on
follow
TikTok,
Marvin
by the
Garrett.
way.
Yeah,
So
yeah. From Mitch, how important is having a social media presence for financial advisors? What platforms have you used to promote yourself as a financial advisor? There you go. That's for
Okay,
you.
so maybe the first question, how important is it? Well, even now during the pandemic, you really have no choice but to build your social media presence, because that really is the only way for people to know what services you offer, what your branding is. And I would say it is super, super important, because this is a way for you to establish yourself as a thought leader in the industry. Like, how do you expect people to reach out to you if they don't know what you do? And what I do is, of course, I determined what my core competence is. And I've always been into making videos. And my friends even know this. So I've always been filming myself, talking in front of the camera, even if it's not personal finance related. I even posted a video on TikTok of me showing how I budget my 20 peso bill when I was around 10 years old, actually. So the video is on TikTok. And you can see that I've always had the passion for making videos, so I did the same. And I did it first on YouTube, but I figured that long form content, I guess, is not very good at hooking people's attention, especially people in the cold market. What gets people attention is siguro short form videos that would make people interested. So the good thing about TikTok is it really helps in terms of virality. I don't think a lot of people are willing to sit down and listen to someone talk about the stock market for 1 or 2 hours, right? So if you take a look at Nas Daily, if you're familiar with him, his videos got viral because he was able to squeeze all of that information in under 60 seconds. So TikTok is pretty much the same thing, and that's why I went there, because I realized that it really is good for organic reach. Meaning you don't have, I never spent a single peso on ads to grow my following. It was really just more on consistently putting content out there and putting out videos that are very easy to consume or to understand. And then the second question is, what platforms have you used? So I started with Facebook because normally everyone starts out on Facebook. So you know how you make a page, you share quotes, you share tips, but I figured that it wasn't for me. Um, I was just doing what all the financial advisors were doing at that time, because they would usually promote either on Facebook or on Instagram. But I realized that the market on Instagram is quite saturated. So there are already a lot of people on the app. If you want to stand out, you have to pay for ads. You have to boost your posts. But when I started out, I didn't really have enough money set aside for marketing. So I really just went on TikTok and tried it out. And next thing you know, I'm here in front of the Sean C. and speaking to all of you watching. Hello?
All right.
Akala ko nawala.
Very good.
Okay.
Sorry for that. But yeah, I'm still at like 40-50% trying to convince myself to go to TikTok, but a lot of people have already been goading me to go to TikTok.
Yeah, I know. I know. You should. You should. The people would love to see your content. When I first started, there weren't a lot of educational content creators. I've seen lawyers, doctors, but I noticed that there weren't a lot who were talking about. Siguro the only business content creator that I knew that went viral was Miss Nina, the CEO of Colored. But there was no one who was talking about personal finance or investing. So I said, okay, medyo undervalued pa siya for finance content creators. I'll get on the app. And then, ayun, one thing led to another. It went viral. Then the growth just went, parang nag-boom na siya.
Galing. We have a question from Chan Manlapas. I think this is for you, Tony. What does a millionaire morning routine look like?
Dapat ikaw yung sumagot doon kasi ikaw yung naging millionaire at a younger age. Ikaw yung mas madami pera. Ako muna. Okay. I guess there's a misconception that all millionaires, I would say, like wake up early or parang they follow this strict routine wherein they have to grind and hustle the whole day. But for me, my it's a morning routine. When I usually wake up at around 9 a.m. and I do follow a morning routine wherein I take a shower and while I'm doing that or putting on my makeup, I listen to a podcast. And then it depends on the day, because I have days wherein I just focus on strategy. So when it comes to the business that I'm in, there are only 3 things that I need to do to be able to grow or excel in this field. And the number 1 is a day for strategy thinking, how I can grow my business. The second one would be to think about content creation. So I make lots of TikTok videos. And then the third one would be more on relationship building. So depending on the day, sometimes I would start with either prospecting or either content creation. That's how my morning routine looks like. And I don't eat breakfast.
Wow. Well, why don't you eat breakfast?
Ewan ko ba, fasting, intermittent fasting. Yung ginagawa ko. How does yours look like? I think yours is more, I don't know, it's more inspiring than mine kasi sa akin na parang.
No, actually mine is very boring. So I wake up, I drink my garlic bits. So I have this I asked my house help to mince garlic for me, 2 cloves. I put it in my mouth and I chug it down with water. That's the first thing that enters my body. That's for metabolism, cleansing, and lowering bad cholesterol. And after that, if it's still early, I go for a walk outside, 30 minutes. I listen to a podcast or one of our paid pieces of audio content from the John Maxwell team. so that I also learn new things every day. That's what I put on my LinkedIn, and that's what I put on my Facebook as well as a status. Yeah, and after that, I go back home, take a shower, sit down, journal or expand on what I learned on in my blog, and hit the publish button. So, like Tony, I try to create something every day. I'm more of a writer than a video guy. I'm actually an introvert and I'm a very shy person. So,
That makes the two of us.
really
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people
interesting.
know this, but I actually am an introvert. And the reason why it's so easy for me to make videos is because I just have to look at the camera. It's not like I'm talking to a lot of people. But I did train myself to speak in front of a number of people. I don't know, there's that common misconception that introverts um, can't really, how do you say this? What's a common misconception by introverts?
Introverts are people who are not good in socializing.
Right. What's your
Yeah.
take on that? Even though I already know this because I've heard it in your other podcast.
I think that introverts are really good in socializing deeply, not
Right.
broadly. That's what I
I
think.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And it's because when you're introverted in a way, it's like you can read people better and you can actually make quality conversations because you're more of an active listener than a talker. So, yeah, I would say being introverted actually helps a lot when you're building relationships with clients or even when you're doing content creation.
Yeah. Yep. 100% agree. Jelly May, it's truly about discipline and consistency. Yes. 100% agree about that. From Len, we have a question from Len. Thank you for being here tonight. Do you know how much you save or spend each year? No, I don't know. My wife knows it. How about for you, Tony?
Right, right. Actually, before I used to track every single peso. I said I know where every single peso is going. And it was because I got so obsessed. So when I started learning about how to manage your finances, talagang I had an Excel spreadsheet, and then I also had an app, and then I would also list it down in my money journal. But now what I do is I do have an Excel spreadsheet for my annual expenses. That's where I check my cash flow, my savings or my account balance from different accounts. And then I also have an app that I use to track my expenses daily. So I don't think it's appropriate for me to reveal how much I save or spend each year. But yes, I know. I know how much I save or spend. I know where my money goes.
That's good. That's good. So, I know a lot of people, especially finance advisors, would say you have to track your expenses. So, don't think I'm giving bad advice that I don't know. I don't know because my wife does it for me. Okay, so if I ask, I still know somewhere there. So I still know. It's just that personally, I don't track it because she does it for me. So, yep. We have a question from Erica. What type of services do financial advisors provide?
Mhm. Okay, so I would say, a common question that's in line with that is, do people really need us? Right? That's a common question that I get even on TikTok. And come to think of it, today, a lot of the most common problems that we see is that people have, there's a lack of financial education. I mean, you can admit that they don't really teach personal finance in schools, or at least in my school, they don't. And number two is that they don't have a financial game plan, right? And then number three is they don't also have their own financial coach or financial mentor. So we can all agree that people need guidance when it comes to their finances. And I would say that there are times wherein, a lot of financial advisors, there are a number of them who would just push products, right? But, that should not be the case. And in my team, we're trained to do it the right way. So what we do basically is, okay, let me visualize it. So there's this point A, which is their financial situation now, and then their point B. So part of our jobs is to know what their goals are, right? How can they reach from point A to point B, or how can we bridge their gap? So when clients approach me, they're looking for something bigger than what they have now. It's either insurance, educational planning, or health insurance, retirement funding, and all of that. So there's always a gap, and most of the time they don't even know it. Like, let's say, for example, when I do a policy review, or when I tell someone that, okay, do you have insurance? They would be like, okay, I have a policy already. But then when we do the calculations, when we do the numbers, you can see that sometimes there's a gap. They actually need like a 3 million coverage for their whole family, but they only have 1 million. So in other words, we help clients reach their goals. We help them bridge the gap between point A and point B. In a sense, we can also, you can see us as financial doctors. So right, whenever you go to a doctor, we tend to ask questions, doctors ask questions, and then from there on, they make a diagnosis. So it's the same for us, right? We ask questions, and if the clients give us the right data, then we can give the right recommendations. Because our goals at the end of the day is to help them reach their own financial goals and identifying those gaps. Now, to be specific about the services, as I've mentioned, we do like insurance planning, we do educational planning, investments, we also do debt management, and even tax planning. But there are also other financial advisors that offer more services. So there are financial advisors who are also accountants, or there are also financial advisors who are lawyers, right? So you can also get extra services from them. And it really depends for every financial advisor. So those are the services that financial advisors usually offer.
All right. And then we have a follow-up question from Mitch. Do you think the industry financial advisory is already oversaturated?
I doubt, because the insurance penetration in the Philippines is still quite low. So among the population we have here in the Philippines, only like less than 3 million are actually insured. So I wouldn't say no, it isn't saturated. There are a lot of financial advisors that Perhaps there's probably one that reached out to you at least once through your DMs, right? But at the end of the day, regardless of what industry it is, like in real estate, in insurance, or in business, what matters is really the quality of the services that you offer, right? So regardless of whether or not it is saturated, you can still stand out in a sense.
All right. And then from Erica, what should I look for in a financial advisor?
Okay. So, the first step that you need to do is to know whether or not they're licensed, right? So that's the first thing that you can consider. And then maybe I could go deeper. So the first thing that you need to do is to look for competence, right? So go beyond, like, we already know that that person is licensed, but go beyond the titles or the designations, right? Look for credentials, look for their yung education nila, their past works, experience, references, right? And then you can gauge the level of services that financial advisor can provide to clients, right? And then the second thing that you need to look for is charisma, right? So are you comfortable with him in your first meeting? So normally you can already gauge how compatible the two of you are to the first meeting. And more often than not, financial advisors offer free financial planning sessions. So you get to know about them in the first meeting pala, right? And then the third thing that you need to do is to, I would say, judge their character. But maybe not everyone is a good judge of character. But in a sense, you need to care more about the agent that will represent you rather than the insurance company. And it's because, when you're falling sick, when you get into an accident, or let's say, knock on wood, you lose a loved one, it can be traumatizing, right? So it's good to have someone who actually cares about you or empathizes with your situation and will make the experience more bearable, right? So when you pick the right agent, you save yourself from administrative nightmare, or you'll have someone really from the inside to assist you with your queries or your claims, right? And these are definitely intangible benefits that money cannot buy, right? So during the crisis, I think we've learned that almost everyone else will take money from you, right? Doctors or lawyers or people who are banks chasing or asking you to pay off your debt, diba? But only your insurance agent will bring money to you. Ganun siya. So it's very important to choose your financial advisor and don't overlook that factor first. Ganun siya.
Got it. Galing. I'll pick a couple of last questions from my end, and then if you'd like to answer some questions on your end, Tony, since I know we're being asked questions on your end, let's
Right,
do it.
right.
So
Okay.
here we have I think this is an interesting question from
Okay.
Flor. Do we have to reward ourselves after hard work, or just save it for future use? How do you do it, Tony? How do you reward yourself after working hard, or just save it?
I do both. You can do both, right? For as long as you're able to manage your finances well, you can actually, like what I've mentioned earlier, when you have a fixed financial management system that you follow and you have a separate fund, let's say for your wants or your leisurely expenses, then you can tap into that to reward yourself, right? And then you can also have a separate fund simply for investments or for, I don't know, like a starting capital for a business. So in my case, I do both. That's my answer.
For me, I would save it for future use. I'm not a boring guy. I buy a lot of
Mhm.
stuff.
Okay.
So that my wife would say is not
Right.
necessary. So
Mhm.
um but there are those rare occasions when I do reward myself, and when I do, I make sure it's an amount that I could partake with. It's it's not a significant amount. A lot of people, that's where they make the mistake. When they reward themselves, it's a significant amount of money from the amount they saved or made, and that becomes a bad habit. So believe it or not, whenever I reward myself, it is a very, very small amount, and I rarely do it as well. Compared, a very small amount compared to what I make, and I rarely do it as well. So I guess yan ang sinasabi nila na, habits of people who are successful. Don't spend too often, and when you spend, make sure it's a very tiny amount of what you make.
I agree.
Yeah. So, Tony, let's do it. Where's the
Oh,
questions?
okay. Okay, so maybe I can hold on. Let me look at my Instagram. Okay,
Sure.
so maybe the first one can be okay. Maiba naman outside of business and finance. What is one reason? This is from Chan. He's a streamer that I know,
Okay.
and he asked, "What is one reason that can make you get out of bed in the morning?"
One reason, I slept too long. That's the first thing that came to mind. I should get out.
Okay. I was
um,
looking for like parang inspiration. Okay, sige. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
practical,
What's the real
Uh,
answer? Yun yun.
um, uh, maybe if in terms of something that inspires me, or I want to tackle the day. I guess it's oh man, I guess it's my people. Like knowing that I have people waiting for me to go online, waiting for me to say something, waiting for me to move, and that just yeah, that gets me out of bed. My people, yeah.
Okay, my
Ikaw, Tony.
answer. Yung totoo. When my back starts hurting, sabi ko, okay, sige, it's time to stand up. Parang ganun. Okay, but sige, okay. Inspirational. Okay, sige. I would say, I learned this recently, and they say, respect your dreams. Wow. So you know how when you respect something or when you respect someone, you don't take it for granted, right? You value it. So whenever I feel as if, okay, I think I've been in bed in too long, or I feel like I'm in a slump, or I don't feel motivated to do any task for today, I just think, is this how I'm gonna treat someone I respect or I value? So it's the same. So that's what that helps me, get up in the morning. But I guess majority of it is really just discipline. Like I learned
Mm.
not to rely more on your motivation and really develop the habit of just waking up at a certain hour of the day and just getting things done. Ganun.
Really good. Really, really good. All right. Next question.
Next question. Okay, let me scan through. Okay, wait lang. Hold on. Di naglo-load yung... Nagloloko na naman yung internet. Wait lang.
It's all right.
Ayan, okay. So, there's one that asked, sige, maybe I could let you answer it. What's your best advice to fresh grads?
Best advice. I guess I mentioned it earlier already. I think that's the best
Mhm.
advice I could give. Do not let your schooling interfere with your education. Don't think that when you graduate, that's it. You're done. You're done learning. You're done with your curiosity. You're done with the knowledge that you can get, because the world has so much to teach you, but it's not going to teach you if you're not seeking for that, if you're not seeking to learn. A lot of people, they grow old, but they don't grow wiser. They don't grow more mature. We already have too many of those people. So when you're a fresh grad, pursue learning, pursue growth. Don't pursue the money. Lot of young ones, especially here in the Philippines, I see that they're after money. Um, Kakagraduate pa lang, gusto na ng salary na 40,000, 50,000. Nothing wrong with wanting more salary for you, but don't put it above learning and growth when you're young. Learning and growth is always going to be the best value giver. And when you have value, then people pay value for you. Right? Some young people kasi wala pang value, gustong malaki ng salary, hindi talaga yun mangyayari. So, invest in yourself. When you grow in the value, in your own value, because you're learning so much, you're getting a lot of growth, and
Mhm.
money's just gonna follow you around. You're gonna get a lot of value for that. So
Right. I
yeah.
agree. I mean, if you work hard on your job, then you'll make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, then you'll make a fortune. So even for me, like the same thing that Sean did, I attended a lot of masterclass. I even paid money for that because I knew that if I learn more now, then I'd be able to, earn more later on. And if let's say that you do land on a job and you lose that job, or your only source of income, at least you have the skill set to offer to other people, or you have, a skill set that could provide value to the marketplace. So that's what I would say. And another question here, okay, relating to startup.
Go ahead.
So, I wait lang. So there was one that asked from Blessy GP, how to tap wider customers as a small startup business.
I am assuming when you say wider customers, they're your target market. So
Right.
a lot of people think that we need to get into this viral bandwagon, or we need to get into whatever is sexy in marketing right now, because that's gonna give us more reach, and that's gonna make us more money. That's not true. Here's the thing: marketing is marketing. It's all about getting into the face and minds of your target market. That's it. It's not about traditional marketing is dying, things are moving to digital. It's not even about digital. Marketing is the same. Today, yesterday, it's the same. It's just how you're doing marketing now is different, because your target market is moving to digital. So if your target market is not on digital, I wouldn't tell you to go digital. I wouldn't tell you to get social media marketing or SEO. I wouldn't tell you to get a website. But if you know where your target market is, focusing and expanding on those platforms, that's going to help you reach a wider audience. If your target market right now is someone who is using their smartphones, first thing in the morning they pick it up, and last thing at night it's the thing they put down, then Facebook is a no-brainer. You have to be there, you have to be running some ads, you have to have budget, you have to be promoting, creating content for your Facebook market so that you could get a wider audience and reach. A lot of people also overlook word of mouth marketing. Word of mouth marketing is still the best form of marketing, but here's the thing, not a lot of companies have a word of mouth strategy. I mentioned this in an earlier podcast. One of the brands that I love in the food industry is Yabu, and that's because when they were starting out, me and my wife we went to one of their restaurants and we had to wait like 45 minutes, which we didn't mind because we were just talking. So hindi naman kami nagreklamo, hindi naman kami tumawag ng waiter, di kami nag-follow up. Di pa nga kami nag-follow up ng food namin eh. And after 45 minutes, food came and we started eating. And before we finished, the manager approached us and said, sir, sorry kasi ang tagal ng food nyo dumating. And we're just going to give it to you for free. And I was shocked. And I said, actually, don't do that because I know that you guys are going to be paying for it if you do this. So it's no problem. I'm going to pay for it. You know, we ate it. I'm going to pay for it. And he insisted that they weren't going to pay for it. It's the companies that's going to pay for it. And they're very sorry about giving our food 45 minutes after. They're getting word of mouth marketing now to all of you, you know, Yabu. They're in Grab, by the way. They're not paying me to say this. And that is an experience that I just love about them. They are customer centric and they serve their customers. Not a lot of businesses have a word of mouth marketing strategy. You have to make sure you have yours. So for SEO Hacker, our word of mouth marketing strategy, we go the extra mile. Meaning, ito lang yung pinagawa mo, marami pa kaming libreng idadagdag dyan na hindi mo ina-expect. And we've gotten a lot of word of mouth. I mean, some of the word of mouth news that I've heard about SEO Hacker, I am blown away. It's unbelievable what people out there say about us. And that's because of the word of mouth marketing strategy that me and my team put in place. So yeah, that's gonna be my best advice for you.
Oh, okay. I'm learning a lot from that, even as someone who, hasn't really explored in the digital marketing field. But I have a question actually, it's from me. And I would say, a recent trending topic on TikTok under educational TikTok. And do you think, and I've also had people who approach me and ask the same question, should I finish college?
That is a very, very good question to ask me.
Because people now are questioning, because there are actually a lot of content creators on TikTok who are saying that you don't need a college degree to start a business, but you could just, instead of spending money on your tuition fee, you could use it as your capital to start a business. And then both sides of the debate, it's still quite heated at the moment and it's still contested. So I want to hear your thoughts as someone who graduated college and now is super successful and super yaban. I think you could learn a lot from you. Even me as a young entrepreneur, and also the many Zillennials that are watching that are currently in college and trying to get by or hardly getting by.
Okay. First of all, that's a very good question, especially because for those who know that I got almost kicked out of college and I'm not doing IT work now. I'm an IT graduate, not doing IT work. I'm in the marketing industry, digital marketing to be specific. My answer would be it depends on your risk appetite. So if you want to have a fallback, definitely finish college. let's say your business doesn't fly, doesn't succeed because of whatever reason, right? Then you have something to fall back to because you have a college degree. That's how I see it. That's how I look at it. One of the things that I also imagine doing maybe someday is to migrate to another country when I'm older. New Zealand has zero records of the virus in this whole fiasco worldwide. So when I'm older, seems like a good place to retire in. Here in the Philippines, my chances of dying as a senior is very, very high if this happens again. So I wouldn't want that risk. I guess if I don't have a college degree, it might be difficult for me to migrate when I'm much older. So those are some of the things that actually come into my mind personally, especially during this time. But yeah, I would say it depends on your risk appetite. If you have high appetite for risk, you really think you can make it, go to the moon and back, and you're still alive and in one piece, then by all means skip college. But if you want that safety net for yourself now, if my business fails, at least I have a diploma for this. At least I graduated this and I can still find a job. Then definitely graduate. Definitely finish college. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because I remember Pastor Dennis answering the same question on TikTok, and he was like, "You can do both, the man. But if you're going to school from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., then you can work on your business afterwards." Something like that. And then he would show his diploma, and sabi niya,
Yeah.
"This is the best investment I've ever made." And then he would show you college diploma niya from DLSU. So yeah, I think you guys have the answer. There you have it. So identify your risk appetite, and
Yeah.
I would say it also helps because if in case, I mean, would you agree that not everyone is like suited for business?
Yes, 100%. I know some people straight up telling me I don't want to do business. I just want to be an employee. And no judgment from me there. If they want to do that, that makes them happy, then go ahead.
Right, right. So when people, when the business path doesn't really pan out for them in the future, then I agree with you. At least you have a fallback. You have a degree that could, help you get into corporate, and you'd be able to learn a lot from there. You can also get mentors there as well, and eventually maybe start a business on your own, right? And at least you already have the connections. You have also the working experience, and at the same time, sometimes you also need a 9 to 5 to get out of your 9 to 5. And unfortunately, like 75% of the employers here require someone with a college degree to start. So yeah,
Yep.
that's what I have to say about the
Yeah.
trending
And
topic right now.
for those single guys out there, if you think it will be poggy points for you as well, then definitely finish college.
If you want like Sir Sean C, then finish college. Pwede din yun, right?
Yeah, but hearing it from me I might not be the best example because again I failed. I almost got kicked out. 30 units would get you kicked out. I failed 28. I wasn't really a good student. I'm one of the people who's just not suited to the education system. I don't listen to class. I cut a lot of classes. But if I want to finish it, I finish it. Maybe I'm too ADHD that way. I don't know. I really don't know my problem 100%, but I can't seem to focus. I can't seem to focus in class. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but what pushed you to continue? You mentioned that you failed units, but what made you decide? Okay, I'll just finish this. I'll just get a diploma. Because you mentioned that you already started you bought the site already. Is it last year college
Yeah, last year.
or last year of college? So why didn't you just like, okay, I'll just focus on this and drop out of college? What
A
was
lot
that
of
deciding factor for you to stay?
a lot of the things I did during that time when I was still living under my dad's roof is to honor him and my mom. So I really tried to finish college because of that. I didn't want to dishonor them by other people in our clan saying di nakapagtapos yung anak ni ganyan. So name of my dad or mom, diba? So I don't want them hearing that. So I wanted to honor them. That's why I finished it. And I also didn't want to dishonor my dad when I was about to quit my first job, my one and only job in Hewlett Packard. So even that, I had to negotiate with him numerous times, get into healthy conflicts with him numerous times before I finally convinced him that, hey, this SEO thing, it might be a good thing for me, it might fly.
Right.
Just have to let me quit HP in peace and give me your blessing. So yeah.
Okay, okay. Sige. So far, do you want me to ask my questions on my end, or do you have
Yeah, but
from
this time
yours?
gonna be yours, this your
Okay,
questions.
okay, sige. So let me look at fees. Um, hold on, just give me a minute to filter the questions.
So while Tony's doing that,
There's
Jeffrey
there.
Troncoso says hello. Hello, Jeffrey. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. Okay,
And
there's one interesting question.
all right.
Para can you love a man that only earns minimum wage?
Only what?
That only earns minimum wage.
All right, that's all you.
Okay. No, I mean, no. Let's from a man's perspective, because I think okay, we can even reverse it, right?
100%.
But in your
For
case,
me,
okay, as
minimum
a
wage, basta mahal mo. Diba? Like, doesn't matter. Minimum wage.
love or money.
Love. Anong aanhin mo ang pera? Quoting Marvin Gaye mo. Aanhin mo ang pera kung wala ka namang love
Wow.
life. O, diba?
Hi,
No,
Apple. Nandiyan yata si Apple sa background. Oh,
wala,
good
wala siya
answer, good
dito. I
answer.
didn't say that for her. But, yeah,
Ah,
it's for Marvin Gaye mo. That's what I learned from him. But yeah,
that's true. That's true.
for if you're the guy, it's easy to answer. Like minimum wage doesn't matter because like the guys, we're the ones who should provide, right? We're the ones who should provide. So we're the ones who should be earning more than minimum wage. That is our biblical duty as husbands to provide, to protect, to lead, and to love. So it's easy for me to answer that. But I think for you, it's interesting to know the answer.
In my case, yeah,
Yeah.
why not? Why not? If it makes, I mean, like that's why they say when you pursue money or you want to build wealth, you need to know your biggest why. And if your biggest why is to, feel happy or have a partner that would go through all the highs and lows, then why not? I can always work money for myself, right?
Mm,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Saka,
that's my answer.
yung advice ko
But
naman sa guys dyan na maybe you're not earning, you don't think you're earning as much. Itong advice ko sa inyo, pag mahal kayo nung babae and you don't think you're earning as much, that's true love, my friend.
what?
So when I met my wife now, she's not here, but when I met her, I was homeless. I wasn't making a lot of money, and nakakahiya, no? And I haven't shared this ever in the live, but there was a time even when we were chatting in Yahoo Messenger. Yak, tagal na nun, no? So Yahoo Messenger. Wala, hindi ko alam kung ano mo
Naabutan
pa
ko
yun.
pa
No?
yun. Naabutan ko
Nabutan
pa
mo ba?
yun.
Okay.
Oo, pero mga 3 years old pa ako nun.
3 years old.
3, 4.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So we were chatting and during that time I was so hungry. Um, Salary came in late with my OJT. I was kicked out of the house. I had nothing, and she offered to help out. Like sabi niya, do you would you like me to like deposit certain amount so that you can eat? Because we were chatting, I asked her if she had lunch. I don't know why I asked that. She asked it back, and I said no. It was like 4 p.m. I was really hungry, and I said because I don't have money. As sad as it sounds, and she offered to help. That's how poor I was. That's how poor I was then. I was commuting from BF Paranaque to Cubao to meet her. And isang commute papunta doon, tricycle, jeep, bus, MRT, jeep, tapos lakad. One way. That's how much I would, uh, that's how many vehicles I would ride going to her one way. So I was really dirt poor. So yeah, I know it's true love. So to the guys out there, kung mahal ka, that's true love right there.
Wow, okay. Sobrang goals, no, as a relationship. And I see how happy you are now. I mean, I'm sure she's also one of your biggest whys on why you work hard and, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
grabe. Sobrang
100%.
inspiring. Okay. Sana
100%.
ganun din sa akin in the near future.
Pray about it. Sabi ko, I always teach even my kids because they ask me. I have two boys. Sabi nila, Papa, how do we have a good wife someday? O, diba? So I tell them only God can give you a good wife. You pray about it. You pray about it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, okay. So, Ingal, now you have your answer. Okay. Okay. So, maybe you have questions also from your end that you wanna bring up.
Okay, we have I have one from Chan. Easy. How do you find a mentor? The easy way, do what Tony did. She reached out to me via LinkedIn, just left me a message, and we got in touch. I connected with her, and right now she's here. We learn from each other. I've not started my TikTok yet, definitely, but I can learn from her how to make it fly. Usually it's just dropping them a message. That's how you find mentors. You just look at their story, see if they're ahead of you, if they've
Hello.
made mistakes, and learn from it. And hey, you're back, Tony. Welcome back. And when you see a certain mentor that you want to learn from, just hit them up. Just leave a chat message, because the worst thing that can happen is di ka nila papansinin or they miss your chat. That's the worst thing. Di ka naman nila papahiyain eh. If they're good
It's
people and you
still
want to get
lagging
mentored
for
by
me.
them,
So, hello.
hey Tony, um, yeah, all right. So yeah, that's how you find mentors. Just hit them up. Wag ka mahiya. So easy. That's how I find my mentors, and usually I add a little bit to it. Like when I leave them a message, usually I say, "Hey, can I get an hour of your time? Maybe we can have lunch or dinner, and I'll pay. I'll pay. You pray, and I'll ask you questions." That's how I do it. That's how you can do it as well. Okay. Do I have other questions here? Yes, I do. Is there such a thing as a business emergency fund from Jelly May? Yes, there is. We call it a safety net, and it acts the same. If your emergency fund is 6 months of your income as an employee, the safety net is 6 months of the business gross
That's
revenue.
it.
When I say gross revenue, why is it gross revenue? It's because you would not want net revenue, because what we're factoring on is the expenses, and the expenses would be the salaries, the rent, anything operations expense. That's going to be the expense, and it might be a big expense as well. So 6 to 12 months would be a really good safety net for your business. Okay. Other questions from Patrick? What are the
I
financial
lost the
mistakes you had
internet
before
connection.
when you were young that you learned from a lot? Um,
Hello.
hello, hey Tony, are you
Oh
back?
no, I'm having trouble with the internet again. Hello.
No worries. Take your time. All right, I'm gonna get to this question first. What are the financial mistakes you had before when you were young that you learned from a lot? I'd say getting into the stock market when I haven't yet studied a lot about it. I mean, I've read books. I've read Warren Buffett's book. Um, I've read some books, but relying on those books alone, I think I didn't have the knowledge, to be honest. Technical investing is very very important. Warren Buffett is a fundamental investor. As long as the business makes sense for him, he invests. And when he invests, it's 5 years minimum, and to infinity, right? We don't know how long he holds a position when he invests. It could be very, very long. But I find that in this day and age where things are snappy, things happen fast, technical investing is really, really important. And how I learned it would be from Marvin Guillermo, Stock Smarts. I mean, that's really how I learned it. I cannot make this up. I am again, I'm not being paid to say this, but really his workshop is priceless. It's priceless, and I learned a lot from that, and that helped me to make money in the stock market. That helped me to make money in the crypto market as well, because it's the same technical charts that you look at when you're investing in cryptocurrency. Okay. Yep, those are the questions. Do I have more questions? How can I improve my credit to get loans? Here in the Philippines, you don't really need to improve your credit, unlike in the US, where you have a credit score and they really put a lot of weight in that. They find it very important. Here, the credit score is not so important. What's more important here is you're employed or you have a source of income, business. If you're loaning and you're a business person, guess what? Your business has to be in existence for 3 to 5 years before they lend you anything, before you can get a loan. If it's not 3 to 5 years, you're not going to be able to loan anything. So it's pretty tough to get a loan here if you're a businessman. But if you're an employee, it's pretty easy to get a loan here. But yeah, how you can improve your chances of getting the loan is basically um, have a good standing with the bank. Make sure your bank account has good cash flow coming in. You don't The bank can see, right? The bank can see how much money you're making and how much money you're spending every month. So they check your bank statement. They will ask you for your certificate of employment. They would ask you for some bills that you pay for every month. If they see that things pan out, you'll get the loan. It's not so hard. Hey Tony, are you back? Can you hear me? All right. I think it's still acting up. So we have from Sora Nahoshi, should I start investing or start my business? It would depend. If you have a really good idea for a business, low capital, low risk, good idea, definitely go business. If you're really good with numbers, if you're really good with analysis, like Marvin Guillermo, he went straight to investing and he killed it there. He's really making a killing. So
Yeah, I'm back, but it's still lagging.
depends.
So I hope you guys can hear me clearly. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, it's still lagging.
Hello? Am I still lagging? Oh no. Okay, hold on.
So yeah, it would depend. It would depend. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. If you ask me, to be honest, I would prefer to just jump to investing. Kung kaya ko nga lang na maging investor kagad. Because that's the end goal, right? Every businessman would want to be just an investor someday and retire. The reason why we build businesses is so that someday someone can take over and run it for us and provide us with passive income, dividends, or profit shares after the fact, after the year. That's what every businessman hopes for. And it's kind of like we're investors already, but we're investing in our own business and we control the output better. That's how business people do it. But really, if we can just go jump and become an investor na kagad, that's actually much better. So if you think you can do it like Marvin did in investing, definitely go invest. That's a better route in my opinion. What should I learn first, fundamental or technical? Both, I would say. You could learn both at... So Marvin Guillermo's Stock Smarts is like 2 or 3 days back to back, or every week. So every Saturday, I think that's when we did it. And yeah, we learned both. He taught fundamentals first, and then the week after he taught the technical analysis. So you could say almost at the same time I learned that. And both are very, very important. Because if the fundamentals are bad, no matter how good the technicals are, it's going to drop. And that's going to be a risky investment. But if the fundamentals are good but the technicals are not where you want them to be, then it's also not a good investment during that time. So I think you have to learn both. It doesn't matter which one you learn first, to be honest, but you have to learn both to be able to invest and trade well and make a lot of money in the stock market. Okay. We lost Tony there. I think she's still fixing her internet, but we'll wait for her to go back online and answer a few more questions from her end. This is like the first time that we're doing like a crossover where I answer questions from the leadership stack Discord channel and community, and we answer questions as well from her Instagram and TikTok community at the same show. So yeah. Do you think it is a smart way for teens to build emergency fund and at the same time invest? If they're teenagers, yes. Because I mean, like, what emergencies are they saving up for? Not, I don't think there's going to be a lot of emergencies when you're a teenager and you have your parents providing for you. So yeah, definitely a smart way to do it. Build up an emergency fund, although you might not know how much that emergency fund should be when you're a teenager because you don't know how much you're making on a monthly basis yet. And at the same time invest. But if it was me, actually, if you have a teenager or you're a teenager, just go ahead and invest immediately. I think that's the smarter way to go and grow your money. And then when you're working, you have your career, that's when you build your emergency fund. All right, we have Tony back. Tony, are you with us now? Can you hear me? All right. Still having some technical problems on our end. Another question from Jeff. What is your perspective about network marketing? I think network marketing works, but the product must be good. I have been using Usana for a very long time already, and I believe in the product. I am not actively selling it. I am not active in the network marketing business of Usana, but the product is super good. That's why the company has existed and thrived for the past years. And I think if you're part of a network marketing company that has a really good product, that's going to be really good for you because you can make a lot of money. I also know that one of the Filipino founded network marketing products and companies that is super duper successful is Sante Barley. And that is a really good network marketing company. They love their people. They practice what they preach. The CEO, Joey Marcelo, is really, an authentic man who believes in health and wellness and fears God as well. So that is one of the biggest, I believe, network marketing businesses that's founded by a Filipino operating here in the Philippines. And definitely what they're doing is really, really good. Okay. Tony, do I have you back on the show? Can you hear me? All right. I think Tony is still having some internet problems for now. But we'll wait for her to hear me and see if we could have that fixed. Meanwhile, I'm going to answer more questions. From Guillier Naval Villaflor, what do you think is more important, passion or practicality? Both have to come into play. But if you're going to choose one, definitely practicality. Definitely practicality. Why I say practicality is because if you're so passionate about something trivial, for example, the harmonica. I am trying to actually learn harmonica right now. And I think if I'm so passionate about this, but I'm not that good, I'm not the best harmonica player in the world, I'm not going to make money from it. And I'm not going to be able to eat or feed my family. And so I think no matter how passionate you are about something, if there's no demand for it, or if you're not number one, it's not going to work out for you. So practicality, I think, is more important in this case because if you're practical, you know what's gonna feed yourself, you know what's gonna feed your family, even if you're not passionate about the work, but it's what works for you, then definitely go for that. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that added value to you today. From Layla Di Maiwat, regarding what you said about business not being for everybody, what's your advice for people who want to venture in business but or are on a different field like the medical field? 100% you could venture into business. 100%. Nothing's stopping you. If you're in the medical field, you can still start a business. Either you start the business on your own or you partner up with someone, you invest, and they run the show. So it depends on how you want to do it. But yeah, nothing's stopping you. Whatever field you are right in, if you have a day job right now, nothing's stopping you from starting out a business. So I was working in HP, a day job, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and running SEO Hacker from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. So I was working very long hours, but I was 21, turning 22 years old during that time, so I could still work very long hours, and I worked hard, and it worked for me. It doesn't matter if I was working in the IT industry. It doesn't matter if I live in BF Parañaque and had to commute all the way to Ortigas for my day job every day and get there 9 a.m. and leave work at 1 a.m. Doesn't matter. What matters is I built the business while I was working my day job, and you can do it too. And that business turned out to be my livelihood, and we're now a multi-million company with a 50-man team, and it doesn't matter if you're in the medical field, to be honest. So hope that answers your question. Hope that adds value to you. And yeah, Tony, are you with us now? Can you hear me fine? We've been trying, and we do need an internet sponsor right here. If you know someone who can help Tony with our internet, that's fan freaking tastic. So yeah, Layla, hope that helps answer your question. We have one from Jelly May. What's a personal finance learning that made a huge impact in your life? Something that shifted your mindset when it comes to managing your finances. Okay. I grew up almost poor, I'd say. Middle income family. Maybe there. Middle income. We weren't rich, definitely 100% we weren't. Had to commute, I had to do a lot
I
of.
hope can you hear me clearly, or am I still lagging?
Hey Tony,
Yes, I can.
can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
think you're
Hello?
still lagging. I think you're still lagging. Yeah, no worries. No
Yes,
worries.
please.
Okay. I'll go ahead and answer some questions first, and then you can come back and fill us in with questions from your end after. Okay. So I didn't grow up rich at all. Middle income, I'd say. So from a young age, I already knew the value of money. Money is not Money is so easy to spend, but very hard to earn. That's what I know about money. And so growing up, I really saved a lot. I saved a lot, as much as I could. But I also had a weakness, and that's playing computer games. And so when I was in college, I'd spend lots of money playing computer games and playing trading card games as well. I love playing games. It's my vice. I'd say it's my vice. I don't want to say that because like there are a lot of people who play computer games on a moderate basis just to wind down. And that's how I play now, just to wind down. But yeah, um, I spent a lot of money during that time. So I guess that made a huge impact in me. The money's so easy to spend but so hard to earn. That's why I save a lot of what I make right now, and I don't spend needlessly even today. Yeah. Otherwise, my wife always tells me this, that I should save more and I should spend less. But I also tell her, what am I working so hard for if I don't spend some? Because my wife is like super kuripot, right? She's a super saver. She just saves and saves and saves for emergencies or for investments, and she's really good at that, and she doesn't spend. Like, between the both of us, it's my wife who saves even more, and I already consider myself as a saver. I save a lot already, but she saves even more, and she saves in an even more disciplined way. So yeah, I there's just almost no way that we're gonna be spending so much money more than we can make, because we both save. We both love saving. It's both important for us. So yeah, but my goal is always to just be able to generate more revenue, make more money, rather than always be kuripot for myself, or always be parang super tipid or super kuripot sa sarili. I don't want to live life like that. If I want to spend for something, I want to be able to spend for it, even if I don't really do, but I want to be able to spend for that, if you know what I mean. So yeah, okay. I'm not sure what happened to Tony now. I don't have her in studio. But there, she just went in. I'm not sure. Hopefully, this is it. Is it redemption time? Are we gonna be redeemed by the internet connection? Tony, do I have you back? Oh man,
Let's test it out. How do I sound?
you sound
How
fantastic,
do
but
I
I'm not
sound?
sure if I'm getting to you real time. That's a problem.
Is it not? Am I not coming out clear? Still?
You sound fantastic, but I'm not sure if I'm getting to you real time. It's like my past self getting to you
Is
after,
it
like,
still delayed?
I think so. I think it's still delayed. Yeah, definitely still delayed.
I don't think you're getting to me real time, but I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, 100%. I can hear you, no problem. So, let's try it out. I've hashed out all the questions on my end. Maybe we have like one last question from your end, and then we can wrap it up.
Yes, I think that's the case. Yeah. Let's hope it's better now. I think it's better now, right?
It's way better. Yeah, it's way better.
Still? Oh no. Okay.
Guys, this is what happens when
Hello. Is
yeah,
it so late? I think it's
this is
okay.
what happens when you
Okay.
don't reply kagad.
Is there still a feedback? Or is it still delayed? Okay. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Okay, all right. One last question. Okay. But the thing is, I can't even check the questions because of the internet connection. Hold on, hold on. Wait. Oh no. Hold on.
All right. Since we have an intermission, here's what I'm gonna do. You have that link right there. We have our YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
I will be able
Follow
to
us
see
on
the
YouTube.
response. Even my. Hello? It's blank. I can rarely even see the responses because of my internet connection. I'm so sorry. I don't think I'd be able to say any questions from my end.
Oh no, no worries. Yeah, I know you're gonna hear this like 30 to 45 seconds
It's
from
still
now, but
loading up until now.
But well, I just want to thank you for being here, Tony, and had fun answering a lot of questions. And yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You're gone now. And I guess you'll be back after this. I don't know if you'll be back after the show, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and speak on her behalf. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. I know we went way over time, but that's because I had questions from my community. She had questions from her community, which we thought would be really good to tackle for all of you to add value to you guys tonight. I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, armory.ph. That's ARMOURY.ph. If you're interested to buy an Italian watch brand, D1 Milano, TW Steel, Fonderia, you could go there in their website, get the watch, add it to cart, check out with a 30% discount. Just put in LS30. That's letter L, letter S, number 3, and number 0. LS30. You get 30% discount. And please don't forget that coupon code. That's only for you guys tuned in on the Leadership Stack live show. We do this every Thursday night, 8 p.m. And we are so glad that we have you here tonight. On behalf of the Leadership Stack team, I just want to thank all of you for being here. And I hope that you guys have joined the Discord channel. If you haven't yet, the link is rotating down there. It's just scrolling down slowly. You can see it from .sean.c/Discord. Key that in. You will be able to sign up. It's free. And you're going to be able to ask questions from me for this show every Thursday night. Or if you want me to answer them any day within the week, you could do so as well. You have mentorship questions, just leave a chat there, connect with me, and I'll be able to get back to you sometimes within the day even. So yeah, the link right there, leadme.ph/YouTube. If you haven't followed us or subscribed to our YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel and we'd be honored if you could subscribe to that as well. Okay, hopefully for the last time, Tony, do I have you with me? Not yet. All right. Well, Tony, it was lovely having you here on the show, and I know
Okay, so
you're gonna hear this
yes,
a couple of seconds from now, but yeah.
yes. No, 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 not yet. Oh, I guess. Oh no, I can't do anything about it. I can't even use my mobile data too because the signal.
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, we'll connect. We'll connect right after the show. But right now, we have to let the audience sleep. It's quite late, and yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. 100%. We love you. We hope to see you next week, Thursday.
Yeah, again, thank you for having me. And I really hope that all of you guys watching got a lot of value from this and just learn at least one or two things. And, after this, I hope you apply something, any of the tips that we shared to your life. So you're probably going to hear this 3 seconds late, but I hope I got my message across.
Perfect. All right, there you have it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.